Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you happen to be watching this. Risco and Osaka coming at you with some more Doot. Now, I don't get this, because yesterday our tags were like 100% okay, and now today they're not. There we go. Get that set up. I suppose maybe we do a refresh to try to get that to work. Also, bumping up the volume. I don't know why I have the volume down so low. It's definitely, I definitely have volume though. So that's the important thing. Volume is what we want. Boost it up, I suppose. Yesterday's stream, the stream was a lot of fun. The actual, like, chapter there, what was it called? Like Titan Falls or Titan something. Titanfall is a game, isn't it? It is. I don't remember what it was called. It was Titan something, and it was kind of like, jank. A little bit janky, not like super jank, but kind of jank. But Kronos did say that this upcoming chapter would be better. It's a better chapter. It's a more thrilling chapter, and we like thrilling. And we're gonna do it with the Necropolis. So we're playing Binding of Isaac. Oh, hayo konnichiwa konbanwa. Kore wa Osaka no Risco no Isaac no Densetsu Afterbus Plus. Hard mode. Eden run. Ikimashou. Ikimasu. We're playing the Necropolis. I don't know what this is gonna be for us, but whatever, right? Like, we're just gonna kill demons. You fought your way through hell and found the Titan's core, a portal that gets you one step closer to the Crucible and defeating the forces of hell for good. You must crush the Crucible. You must crush the Crucible Guardians and retrieve what is yours. It's gonna be like a dead rabbit, isn't it? Hi, Vu! It is wonderful to see you, Hive. I hope that you are doing well. I know that you had to do like a accessibility check on some documentation thingy today, and it sounds like it was a giant pain in the butt. But I hope that you're well. Who asked it to be 9 p.m.? Oh, that's right, because you're like an hour ahead of us. Right. I couldn't tell you, Hive. Hello, Cedric. It's a pleasure. Cedric, say hi to Mari for me, by the way. 'Cause Mari deserves some love, too. Reclaim the Crucible from its tomb. Its tomb. I mean, sure, we could do that. I'm okay with that. I guess shotgun? I mean, shotgun's not bad. It's okay. Kronos likes the shotgun more than I do, I think. But hold on a sec. 2 mouths to feed. Kill 2 cocoa butters with 1 shot. Probably not gonna happen. Kill 10 demons with explosive barrels. I guess. Kill a monkey buddy with the pistol. I mean, we could possibly do that. It seems like a bit of a hard sell, but it's not impossible. Now, what is our shotgun here? 5 monkey buddies with charged burst. We didn't really do so great with that one last time. We're still working on that one. It's two in 1 shot. Tactical scope is done. The Gatling rotor was... What was the Gatling rotor? 5 kills, 5 seconds. I don't know about that. That sounds like a heck of a pull. That one's done. Find a field drone. Oh, we haven't done any of that yet. This one is the Hell Knight headshots. We could probably pull that one off. Lock on burst we still need 6 for. And yeah, it's like, it's whatever. I don't know. It's okay. Why am I flipping around like this? I mean, we just gotta go down. It's not that hard. Do I get to press anything? No, it's already pressed. It's depressed, as it were. Although if I were a demon, I might be a little bit depressed, you know? It sounds like a hard life to kind of have to deal with. Thank you, chainsaw, ammo. Thank you, ammo. I guess that's everything. That's the whole lot. Let's do this. Jump into the fire. Also swim in the sea. You can something, but you'll never be free. Oh, Treffley! How you doing, Treffley? I hope that life is treating you very well as well. Demon pressed. I mean, really though? Actually, why am I using the plasma rifle? That's not what I need. Biff! I'm glad to hear, by the way, Treffley, that your move is progressing pretty smoothly. It seems smooth from this side of the fence. Well, this side of the screen, I suppose. Excuse me? Flying skulls are the rudest, and we don't appreciate them. I do love the way they yell, though. I mean, I'm down with their screams. Crumbs? Alright, well that's one monkey buddy down. So that's a start. Oh, jeepers. I didn't expect any of you to be here. That was a surprise. I was surprised. Also, chainsaw, I love you. I didn't even know they're screaming. They don't have lungs. I mean, really though, when you get down to it, they don't. They shouldn't be screaming. Come on. Come on. Hell Knight, you are such a cutie. With your skull. I just love their skulls. They're so smooth. Whoop! Oh, the song is for PtaER. Oh, Buttons! Hey, how's it going, yo? I hope that you are filled with some form of joy today. I hope that at least one nice thing happened to you. I'm doing well. I almost have a backup stream rig. I just need to test and have a new face cam, and I'm just waiting for the room next door to be cleared out. So yeah, very smooth. Excellent. Oh, I bet they do. Hive. I bet they totally polish their skulls. They seem to be kind of, you know, like, maybe a little bit vain. They're very proud of their skulls. As well they should be, by the way. I don't want to imply that they should not be proud of their skulls, but I'm thinking buffing is involved. Alright, dead end? Cool. This is oh, it's a monkey buddy! It's a cyber monkey buddy. Hey, buddy. How about a bloody buddy? But you need to stop this, actually, monkey buddy. I mean, I love ya. You're cute as a button. And you glow green, and green is maybe my favorite color. Maybe. It's hard to tell. But at the same time... I do like how we went from Meshuggah sounding BFG Division to Slipknot sounding Rip and Tear. I haven't listened to Slipknot in like a while, and I really feel like I need to rectify that situation. Can we get the chainsaw upgrade here? Because there's like a lot of little weak guys. Oh, we did it! We did it! We did it! Woo woo! Oh, excuse me? Did somebody just bump into me? Dude, what are you even thinking? You got nothing here. No, there's nothing. Why are they giving me so much health? Oh, to that assertion do I ask, do you? I don't know, because I've forgotten what assertion that I've made. I mean, honestly, really, once something is out of my mouth, there's about a 90% chance that I won't remember what it was that I was saying in the first place. So... Oh, you can't? You can't just, like, up and straight up punch him? Cocoa Butter! I love you. You are so cute. Biff! That you need to listen to Slipknot again. Well, you know, the Slipknot song that's on the Resident Evil soundtrack, I actually really like. It's called My Plague. Now, interesting, although I think I've mentioned this before, so probably it's not interesting anymore, but the version that's on the Resident Evil soundtrack is actually shorter than the album version, which is a thing that I did not find out until I tried to do it karaoke. And I was like, why is there completely another verse sitting in here? I don't know what this is. Hellraiser? Really though? You think you're so cool, but you're not. Fuck, I'm on haste. I don't want to be on haste. I'm too fast when I'm hasted. I am not built for celerity. Really, it's more of a demontation build. Although I think with like celerity and demontation, you can do demon tackle, which is always fun. Oh fuck, we are gonna die. We're gonna die to this chump. There is so much health. Why do the specters never give me any glory kills? That's like not cool. Also, you'll have to give me just a second before I look at chat, because I'm kind of up to my nipples in demons. And really, there's a lot of things that you might want to be up to your nipples in. I could think of probably 5 or 6 right off the top of my head. Demons, not one of those. Unless they're very cute demons who are also very friendly. The friendliness is the important thing, I think. They don't have to be cute, but I would rather that they were friendly. Alright, Slippery Lads, we're gonna get to you in a second. Let me just kill this monkey buddy by shooting him in the butt. Oh, crumbs. Oh, jeepers. Would you not, though? I mean, look, I'm sure you're very cool, Imp. I mean, honestly, I bet you're really fun at parties, but at the same time... Oh, excuse me? How did that not... Oh, you are such a bitch. Oh gosh, darn it, just stay still. Oh, good, 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 good. Oh, you are, yeah, fine, it's dead, it's dead. Alright, let me check what I missed. It certainly is an interesting thing to say about shooting demon brains out with a shotgun. You know, it happens, it's a thing. It could still be interesting to everyone else in the chat, since I'm the only one else here who's heard that. That's a good point. I don't think that I've mentioned that to Treffly or Buttons yet. But it's totally a thing. I don't know why they trimmed the song down. It's very strange. You think you're so cool, but you're Hellraiser Bloodlines instead. Whoo! Hive the burn on that one. That's a whole burn. The summoners are actually different in functionality to the Archvile. Huh. Okay. I mean, is the Archvile in Doom 2016? Or is the Archvile in Doom Eternal? Because I don't think we've run into an Archvile in... Sai! Oh my god, Sai, how are you doing? It's been so long. I wasn't able to I haven't been able to drop in your streams. Sleep is bullshit, frankly. But also we were streaming yesterday when you were streaming, so it probably wouldn't have worked out anyways. Unless I can look at two things at the same time, which I totally can't. I honestly, I have no skill of doing that. Howdy bowdy! The Archvile is in OG Doom and makes a return in Eternal. Okay. It's Sai JK. Sleep is bullshit and important. I mean, absolutely, definitely in both of those things. Sai, are you doing well? Is everything cool? I haven't, I haven't caught up in a long time, so I just want to make sure. 'Cause I know everything is a trash fire for, everybody kind of all the time. Alright, we got the yellow sculpt, so that's where we need to go. Trying to, Treffly. I'm doing pretty good. Got me ups and downs, but no real big complaints. That's like a whole mood side. I can dig that very, very well. That's kind of been me on like an hourly or bi-hourly basis, and it sucks. I'm really kind of tired of the emotional roller coaster. I could do without it. But I'm glad that you're doing well, and that's really the takeaway there. People said the Summoner was 2016's answer to the Archvile. However, Summoner summons adds. Archviles resurrect demons you've killed. That sounds even more annoying, to be perfectly honest. I'd almost rather them just summon fresh demons than making me re-kill old ones. Look, I'm running around in circles, which honestly is totally on brand. But I could do without it. Hello. I knew something was popping up, but I wasn't thinking it was gonna be a monkey buddy. Very relatable. I think we're all kind of on the same page. I mean, I wouldn't make the assumption. I wouldn't claim that we've all come from the same set of circumstances, but I think a lot of us tend to process things fairly similarly. I tend to see a lot of my own life mirrored in you folks, so yeah. Fun. you imp! You are such a douchebag! I totally had that glory kill and you totally fudged it up. God, what a jerk. Imps are jerks. Cocoa Butter. I'm sorry, but I can't just sit still and die for you. Also, you're totally distracting me from chat, which I think is rude. Honestly, Cocoa Butter, you could do better. You could wait your turn. We could get a talking stick if we need one. But no, you're just gonna be a d-bag. Fine. I loved you, Nummy Muffins. I loved you. And what have you done? You've just betrayed me? Like just a betraying thing. Oh shit. Oh you fuck. Stop. Stop! Just shooting dildos at people like a complete d-bag. What are you doing, my friend? Did you get hung up on the geometry? 'Cause I love that. Sigh! Other people have eyes, and I too have eyes. Which is shockingly relatable. I mean, that's a mood. Sigh, I'm actually... Beyond the fact that I'm glad that you're about. Because I always love running into you. But there was something specific that I think that you would have a particularly good take on. So, going back to wrestling, and, you know, the 1980s penchant for heel managers, heels in general, but heel managers, and you had Brother Love. And Brother Love was, for anybody who's not familiar with 1980s WWF wrestling, which honestly you shouldn't be, but maybe you should. Brother Love was like a evangelical pastiche. He was kind of like a Billy Graham style character. He was very, very slick, wore a white suit, was very, very red. He was a very red person. I don't know if that was a health issue. I don't think it was makeup. It looked like natural red. He was very red. And he was very, like, oligaceous. Oligaceous? Oligaceous? He was oily. And he'd do these, like, he would do these promos. He would do these pressers. And he'd be like, I'm Brother Love, and I love you. But he was a bad guy. And I'm just wondering, Sai, I kind of want to have your take on this. Thinking about the way that wrestling maps to and mirrors what's acceptable in society at the time. And in the 1980s, like, terrible racist pastiches were super acceptable, so we had, like, oh fudge, I can't remember that one dude's name, but he was like a headhunter. For fuck's sakes, he was a headhunter. But thinking about the way that evangelical Christianity has become big in the States over the past 30 years, do you think they could do a Brother Love style character these days? Because I almost kind of think that they couldn't. I want to see this chat, because, like, chat's been jumping, and I need to know what's going on. Booking in my day with accessibility audits, okay. Original Archviles having hit scan fuck you attacks gives me nightmares, fair enough. On the one hand, if you don't kill them, you have more demons to fight. On the other hand, you won't suddenly have a Hell Knight to kill again. Yes. I see a lot of little bits of myself in others. I mean, truthfully, honestly, me getting a wider social circle, has really helped me figure my shit out much better. Seeing things that resonate, like experiences that other people have had, that I kind of thought was just me, That's been really, really important. Yeah, right, okay, so I saw that part. I was meant to do accessibility audit on a platform that offers secondments to country for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander employees across Australia, which is cool because they wanted to be accessible to everyone. They did something no other platform holder has done. They asked me to create my own account instead of giving me a tester account that was pre-registered. So I thought, what the heck, let me sign up for using a screen reader, and couldn't answer the first question on the sign-up form. Fuck! I would say a well-done televangelist gimmick could be incredible if it's done properly. Wrestling shies away from religion with its subject matter, but for the most part, they have some fun things in the past, like Shawn Michaels wrestling God, which was just a spotlight that was shined down the ramp and onto the ring? Okay, Sai, so I should kind of preface this. My knowledge of wrestling basically stops at, I would say, probably around 96. I kind of osmotically know some of the stuff that's been going on in wrestling, and your streams have been really, really good for informing me on a lot of stuff that I've missed out. But Shawn Michaels wrestling God is just, whew, I mean, like, that's... I don't even know what to do with that information. Increasing my social circle lately has really boosted my self-esteem and has brought out a lot of my caring nature more. Trevely, that is awesome. And I want to push your self-esteem. I mean, I know I've only gotten to see a couple of your streams, and we've only known each other for a little while through Twisted's chat, Twisted's Discord, but you seem like really, really cool people. I've had a good time every time I've dropped into your streams. So please bulk up that self-esteem. If you need to take like self-esteem steroids, I don't know if you can get those prescribed from the doctor. I mean, it seems like you should. Doctors should prescribe those, but probably they don't, because they're assholes. No worries, Buttons. I forget that some of this corporate talker culture... Some of this is corporate talker culture specific. It's kind of interesting, Hive. Like, that's one thing that I noticed. I totally got... I deserved that, really. I mean, I was fucking around, and I should have been more careful. It's one thing that I noticed specifically when I was doing teaching, but I've also noticed a lot doing the streams. These kind of bubbles of experience that we think are universal that turn out not to be universal. And sometimes, like, we'll talk about shit, or we'll bring up some piece of jargon, or like an in-joke from a piece of media. Getting older, by the way, is really, really good for this. And you just kind of assume that everybody is on the same page. Everybody knows this thing that you're talking about. And they kind of look at you because they don't want to interrupt the flow of the conversation and be like, I don't know what you're saying. But at the same time, like, clearly they don't know what you're saying. Kind of reining that impulse in, to lean really heavy into in-jokes, for example, or to just assume that everybody knows what you're talking about. That was one of the big things that I needed to do as I was teaching, because it was really easy when I first started teaching to just lose students because they could follow me on a word for word. We understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, but they could not follow what I was trying to say because it was just too insular. It was a lot. Also, fun fact, Brother Love, whose real name is Bruce Pritchard, is now one of the most executive members of the WWE and is the lead director of SmackDown and Raw alongside Vinnie Mac. Well, I mean, if he's still chummy with Vinnie Mac, I mean, he sounds like a trash fire. But I think I would feel that way about anybody who is chummy with Vinnie Mac. Because Vinnie Mac is awful. It's really easy to assume that your life is super boring. Oh, that's a mood. Treffly, like, that's a super mood. It's funny because it was like Ellie the Silver Burb in Treffly's chat in Twisted's Discord. She said like a couple of days ago, she said like I had a lot of interesting life experiences, or she felt like I had a lot of interesting life experiences, and I had to read the sentence like 3 times because I was like, really though? Are you sure? Because it doesn't feel that way. A lot of times it just feels like years go by and nothing happens. And then things get very exciting for like a couple of months. And then it's like another couple of years where like nothing's really going on. Don't worry about it, Sharply. And if you need a rest, if you need to get some sleep, please do. Even if you only ever stay for like 15 or 20 minutes, you're welcome for that amount of time. But I'd much rather that you were getting what you need for health. Crumbs. I want to see what you just said, Hive, but I'm gonna have to kill a couple of things first because I'm kind of sort of dying. I always think I don't have much to talk about or that many stories, and then I get people like you in my chat who think they're fascinating. I mean, I think we've all got stories, but they don't always feel that way to us. You just kind of rack them up over time. Come here. Thank you. I will take this health. Listen, you are distracting me from chat, and I don't appreciate that, so... There. Boof. Are we done? Did we do it? I don't think we did it. Oh, we totally did it. Excellent. What are you? Quad damage? I don't want effing quad damage. I want to be out of this spot. Whatever. We'll take it. Dildo shooters. Just an HR nightmare, these guys. Squish. Did we just break the level? I think we broke the level for a second there. Shit. Bugger! Bugger and sin! Oh, you bastards! I should practice what I preach on the self-care sermons. Yes, Treffly, you should. I ask you, with all the kindness that I can muster, drink as much water as you need, which Risco doesn't also do herself, but she totally should. Get the rest that you need, and know that you're always welcome whenever you want to drop back in. And familiarity kills Hi! I can read. Familiarity kills excitement. Definitely. It definitely can. But I want to see that big chunky thing that you mentioned earlier, Hive. Let's see. Anyway, I had the video conference with one of the people managing the platform, and I was like, yes, I'll help, but first off, this is what happened. And the look of panic on his face was priceless, but also sad. Yeah, I could see that. Oh, definitely. Big moods in the chat. And speaking of the care of the self, I'm gonna take a quick pause. I'm going to do some self-damage by having a cigarette, but then I'm going to do some self-care by drinking like 2 or 3 glasses of water. So I'm going to be right back before I get too raspy. Yosha! Alright, we are back. Want to make sure the platform is viable for people with low vision. Yeah, about that. I've been growling at other streamers to get rest and look after themselves since at least one of them keeps staying up for like 30 hours at a time for work. Oof. I mean, I've done that truthfully, but I don't know that I could do it anymore. I'm perpetually worried that I'll start telling a story and realize midway, oh shit, this experience is kind of fucked up. Oh, buttons! Big mood! Huge, giant mood! Buttons, yes! There are a couple of stories. I'm very glad that I got rid of the before channel, like the channel from the before, because I wanted a clean break between that life and this life under this particular name. But one of the other reasons that I'm glad that channel is gone and those videos are gone is because there are a couple of stories that I told on stream that, thinking about them later in the context of me figuring my shit out last year, were really fucked. Like, really messed up. Like, the implications in the context of those stories, and I didn't, I kind of held on to them because they were funny, and they were interesting-ish, but kind of looking at them in a grander scope, and it was kind of like, wow, that's just a complete mess, and I should have never told anybody but a therapist about those. I shouldn't have just thrown them out on the stream. So yeah, giant move. Nug, it is wonderful to see you. Good timing, perhaps, because I just came back from my break. Kind of, this should not be a hard set piece battle, but I kind of been fluffing it because I've been looking at chat and thinking about other things, and definitely not thinking about what I'm supposed to be killing. So let's get it right this time. I think getting it right would be a good idea. Also, these things take 40 points of health at a pop. That's kind of a big problem. Like, that's a lot, because we don't have that much health. I mean, not if you're chonking it away in units of 40. Nug, I hope that you're doing very well tonight. And we're at low health again. How? Stop! Cocoa Butter! Don't betray me! Oh my god, you imp! We got killed by an imp. I feel ashamed. I feel deeply ashamed. But that's okay. Fresh start. I got hit by 2 Monkey Buddy fireballs. The big boys, I mean, they punch. They pack a punch. There's no question about that. But this time is the for realsy dealsy. Also, we really need to be actually dodging. That's probably part of the problem. I don't know, Hive, because like Doom came in one of those weird in-between times where I didn't have a computer, I think, that I could actually run it on. Or maybe I didn't even have a computer at that point, I'm not sure. Like, I played Wolfenstein 3D, like the old Wolfenstein 3D, where you could actually make Hitler melt. And do we want anything more than making Hitler melt? Because that's like a whole mood. But for some reason, I missed Doom and Quake completely. I don't know if there's a particular reason for that. Whoop! Take that, Nummy Muffin! You're so cool. You're not cool. I mean, you are. You're absolutely totally cool. Your little dangly arms. I love your little dangly arms. But, at the same time, I'm afraid that I kind of need you to die. Oh, Black Lamb! It is so good to see you, Black Lamb. I hope that falafel recipe is a good one for you. It's a pretty easy make. You might want to play around a little bit with the spices, just to kind of get it to be where you want it to be. But honestly, like falafel, just the base idea of falafel aren't that difficult. And they're so yummy. Like, falafel are so good. Dude, it just keeps throwing dildos at us. Also, like, decoy grenade, could you maybe work? There's a decoy grenade right there. Not much of a decoy, thank you very much. Hold on, let me kill these dildo chuckers, and then I can pause and take a look at the chat. Excellent. What did I miss? Tooth restored. Yes, you mentioned that. I'll also go feed Muddy. Muddy needs the foods. Feed! Black Lamb, I'm so glad that you got that tooth sorted out. I would say, and I do believe that the tooth problems are pretty sucky, but that's about the only health problem that I haven't had. For some reason, my teeth are like that one dude in the James Bond movie Moonraker. My teeth are basically made out of like tungsten or titanium. I don't know, like one of those. It's a metal. Where did we... I'm just shooting you in the junk, and that's all you deserve? How am I at low health? How am I at low health? God, you guys are jackasses. Fuck. Oh, jeepers. Just get out of my... Get out of my dome. There. Okay, we got some health back. Can I? Nope, 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 nope. Oopsie. Got some health back? What's that? That's a fucking joke. I think I see some blue stuff, and blue stuff is health. So we're totally gonna make a point to get that. Thank you. God, you are such D-bags. Super shotgun, yes. Everyone loves a super shotgun. I should just let these fuckers kill each other? I mean, that would be the intelligent thing to do, right? Lets you and him fight? Eat it! Cripes, there's a cyber dude over here. Nobody wants your unsolicited dick pics. Or your plasma. Thank you very much. The only acceptable unsolicited dick pics are of Dick Cavett. Because he just seems wholesome. I don't know if he's actually wholesome. I mean, I should point that out. Dick Cavett is slightly ahead of my time. And by ahead of my time, I mean before my time. Completely fucking different. But you just look at a picture of him, and he just seems so nice. Oh, thank dogs. Are we done? Are we done here? We're done here. Excellent. Teeth made of tungsten. I mean, it's kind of... Yeah, I mean... My teeth and my tongue are very well acquainted, so there's that. Teeth problems suck, though. Glad it's worked out. Yes. We are absolutely glad that it's worked out. Because teeth problems, I imagine, suck. I'm gonna go with that as an operating thesis. This is like the third time in my lifetime I've had to reconstruct that tooth. Get him to make it out of, like, steel. Wait, no, not steel. Steel would rust. Wait, would steel rust? Stainless steel wouldn't rust. Huh. Well, like that medical grade steel, that's what you want. No more making these teeth again. How many times can you get the same tooth? Tungsten. Am I pronouncing it wrong? I totally accept the possibility that I might be pronouncing it wrong. Where do you want me to go? There was a blue door back here, right? I don't know why we had so much trouble with that room. Because that room was not particularly difficult. There's no reason we should have struggled the way that we did. Oh, I am pronouncing it right. Oh, thank God. It's hard to tell because there are a lot of words that I've only read, but I've never actually heard somebody say. And I just have the image in my mind. This is like, from the spelling, what it's supposed to sound like. Oh, please. Imps. Motherfucking imps. I swear to God. Squish! Oh, you're the specters. You're not pinkies. Or are you? Oh no, you are pinkies. What the hell? Why are they throwing pinkies at me now? Aren't we past pinkies? There's the specters. I figured you were around someplace. I suppose these things are supposed to be camouflaged, but they just don't. It doesn't work. Oh crap! Not enough? Oh, we've only got 2. Crumb bums. Thank you for the health. I love it. It's not gonna last, but I mean, I still appreciate it. You should always thank people when they've done something good for you. Unless they've only done something good for you as a backhanded compliment or something. Oh, Dukes! Dookies! Crap. Oh, we're stuck. We got hung up on the environment. Silly me. Alright, we want to pull out Gauss Cannon, maybe? I think Gauss Cannon, I think that works. Oh, Kronos, don't worry about it. I'm glad that you got a little bit of extra sleep. And you are always welcome, anytime that you drop in. Excuse the fuck out of me? Why did we suddenly catch on fire? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I mean, yeah, I could go with that button. Not buttons, Black Lamb. We even went through the effort of changing everybody's colors, and I still confuse people. Okay, but I'm glad I made it because I know what's coming and I want to provide support. Oh, that doesn't sound terrifying. That doesn't sound terrifying at all. It seems like it, Black Lamb. I mean, we just, like, caught on fire? And that's not cool. In fact, I would go so far as to say that's kind of rude. Yipes. Oh. Oh. You jag. You are such a fucking jag. Look with that pinky. Remember to stun bomb if they move too much. That's a good point. And I really should stop using the decoy, because the decoy is not doing much for us. It's kind of okay, but it's not really okay. I can't read the font. I think this is frag grenade. Hologram, and maybe we're on the right one? I don't know. Hello, very thin-kerned font. I'm waiting for a Doom times Monster Hunter crossover. That actually sounds pretty slick. I mean, I've never played Monster Hunter, but kind of following what people say in the Discord, and it seems like a lot of fun. And Doom is a lot of fun. Although I wonder if we... Oh, shite. Fucking... Just really, though. Ow! Fuckery! I saw it charging, and the time was slowed down. Wasn't much I could be doing about it. Taking down Elytron with the Gauss cannon. Is Elytron like a big beastie? Or is it like a little wee beastie? Cause it might be funnier if it was a wee beastie. I think that's the stun grenade. I'm not sure. It's a big dragon. Alright. Then the Gauss cannon is definitely appropriate. Okay, let's not fudge around here. Let's do this for real. Hi, Pinky. How you doing? Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Hey, fake Pinky. Anyways, I overslept because I spent time doing a drawing when I should have been napping for the stream. Oh, I'm glad that you got a drawing in, though. Don't worry about it. Not at all. Hell, I stayed up last night until 4 o'clock in the morning watching fucking Japan Sinks 2020, and that's, like, that anime is, it's a whole thing. It's a whole fucking thing, let me tell you. What were you doing, mate? Like, what was that even supposed to accomplish? Oh, what is it, by the way? I have no idea what it is. Okay, so Japan Sinks is an old movie and maybe an old manga, but I'm not 100% sure. And the basic premise is that there's like a giant earthquake, and Japan sinks into the ocean. All the islands sink into the ocean, and it's your basic disaster movie, right? So it was updated in this newer version, Japan Sinks 2020, as a full anime series. So they've got like a lot more time to work with. It's not like a 2-hour movie anymore. I don't know how many episodes it actually is. I haven't looked at the episode list, but it's... The fuck was that? That was weird. Are we still broadcasting? We're still broadcasting, right? Okay. Is my voice coming through? I should check in the chat. Okay, good. Excellent. I don't know why it paused like that. I don't know why it told me that my microphone was plugged in, because clearly my microphone's plugged in, because I'm talking with it. Oops. Oh. The issue with... I haven't seen the original movie that the anime here is based on. So I don't know what, like, the tonal feel of that movie is. But the anime is all over the fucking map. It is just, like, it needs to pick a tone, and it needs to stick with it, because it just bounces back and forth, and I have no idea how it wants me to engage with it. It's like, are we going to be a funny buddy comedy road trip? Because we've got a whole bunch of buddy comedy road trip characters going on. Are we going to be like a full-on disaster movie? Because the title is Japan Sinks, and you start off with a giant earthquake that just destroys everything. Okinawa sinks into the ocean in the first 20 minutes, which As a side note, it would be kind of nice if we stopped throwing Okinawa under the bus. I know that within the conceit of the show, it was gonna happen. But at the same time, you know, Okinawa takes a lot of shit. I think we could do with maybe less of that. Are we, going back to the anime, like, are we trying to do a family drama? Because there's family drama type stuff going on. We've got funny foreigner characters that are in there for, like, whatever reason. I hate funny foreigner characters, by the way. It's just like, there's so much, and I don't know what it wants. I kind of want to talk about this last couple episodes that I watched, because they're a lot, but I don't want to spoil it in case anybody's planning to watch themselves. So, like, I'll kind of leave that as an option. If people want to hear about this, by all means, I'll talk about it, but if people would rather just, like, leave it unspoiled, I can drop the topic right now. Premise sounds eerily similar to Tokyo Magnitude 8.0. I mean, it's not an unusual topic. Dead Man Wonderland uses kind of a similar trope to set up its main plot. Although Dead Man Wonderland's earthquake is much more contained, it's just the Tokyo area. There was also another one, like, I'm trying to remember the name. I want to say something like 51 Ways to Save Your Girlfriend, but I haven't read it in, I don't even know, probably like 10 years at least, where there's like a massive earthquake and you follow this guy and his gal, and they're trying to get across Tokyo, because everything is fucking Tokyo. Everything is Tokyo. And that was not a good one. I think it stopped about halfway through, so there's no even resolution to the story. Did you sink too? I mean, if this situation actually occurred, I'm pretty sure Osaka would be fucked. I might be lucky because I kind of live on one of the few, like, higher elevations of Osaka. Most of Osaka is very lowland. It's very water level. So if there were ever an earthquake, like for example in Osaka Bay, a huge chunk of the city would be wiped out by the tsunami, because it's like right at that level. I'm up the hill. It's not much of a hill. Osaka is a bit of a misnomer, because Osaka can be read as Big Hill, and we don't really have. It's not a big hill. We don't have a big hill. It's a giant fucking lie. But what hill that we do have, I kind of live on the top of it, so maybe I'd be okay. On the other hand, my building is almost 40 years old, so probably I'd be dead. I cannot hear that last battle song without hearing Wooly's mum yelling at him for playing too. Okay. Dead Man Wonderland was definitely, was entirely uninteresting. It was like, it could have, they could have done something with Dead Man Wonderland. They chose to do basically the worst possible things that they could have done with that story, like with that setup, with that premise. Like, you've got, first off, you've got an amusement park that's entirely staffed by prisoners, like prison inmates. We could do a lot with that. Like, what kind of society thinks that's okay? What do they think about incarceration? What do they think is the purpose of incarceration? is there any pushback from society on that point? Like, you got a lot going on there. You dig down to the next level, and we've got blood-based superpowers, which seems like a very emo metaphor. Like the characters actually have to cut themselves to use their superpowers. I feel like you could work with that. You know, how do we damage ourselves in order to empower ourselves? Is that a positive thing or is that a negative thing? You could go directions there. But what does Dead Man Wonderland do? Fucking nothing! Just fuck all! And that's not even getting into like the super uncomfortable shit that is all over Dead Man Wonderland. I mean, the dude who's got the sister complex, the fact that the sister is like some completely messed up sadist, there's a whole bunch of assault, content warning, sexual assault, that we're not going to dig into. Let's set Dead Man Wonderland to the side for a moment. Because it's a thing. It's a whole thing. Okay. I think around the time Dead Man was airing, I was busy watching Squid Girl. I should really look at Squid Girl, because I've heard, I haven't heard anything about Squid Girl, actually. I just really like the art of it. Dead Man Wonderland was okay. I don't know, the anime surely could have been better, but maybe I should read manga. You're not missing much, Black Lamb. The manga is very short. And part of that is because around the time that the anime was airing, we had the big Tohoku earthquake. And the studio and the company producing the manga decided, and I think rightly, decided that it was probably not a good idea to air, since like I said, the triggering conceit of Dead Man Wonderland was giant earthquake in Tokyo, and it lost a lot of momentum from that point, and I don't think it ever picked it up again as far as momentum and readership. So they ended up cutting the series at 6 volumes, but it's unsatisfying. And because it got wrapped up so early, you could tell that there were things that the mangaka wanted to do, like to actually provide a conclusion to the series that they ended up having to rush to finish. So, like, it fails on every conceivable level. But Risco, think about the gore battles. No time for a subtle message. I mean, but there could be. Sounds kind of like God Eater Team games where they write plots where people have to fight to survive but decide to do nothing with those plots. Yeah. And in fact, like, even the fighting to survive thing is... it's thrown away very early. Like, I could see them going for a very middle-of-the-road, like, tournament arc anime. Not anime, but tournament arc manga. Where the entire manga is the tournament arc, because that's the basic central piece of it. And they don't even do that. If you do, you should try to find dubbed episodes of Squid Girl. The amount of aquatic puns are hilarious and kind of genius. Ooh, I will keep an eye out for it. About the earthquake, it also happened between episodes 10 and 11 of Madoka, so they had to delay the show for a couple of weeks. One of the big reasons is because the Siege of Walpurgisnacht is on episode 11. I remember you mentioning that when I was doing the Madoka watch in the before, and I can definitely see that. It's very much there.
Yet as the mighty Titan fell, and dread engulfed the armies of doom,
Doom!
priests of the blood temples laid a trap to capture the scourge of hell in insatiable, even by the vanquishing of the Great One.
Okay.
Walker sought prey in the tombs of the Blood Keep.
Alright, I'm cool with that. Yeah.
The lure drew him in. The priests brought down
There was
the
totally
temple
like a stuffed bunny in the sarcophagus.
in his defeat, entombed him in the cursed sarcophagus.
Do you still want to talk about Japan Sinks episodes? Buttons, I am gonna do that. I'm gonna reel that out. I just want the narration to finish up, and then I'm gonna take like a really quick break. I'm gonna try to put my thoughts into some kind of order. But yeah, as long as everybody's okay with me going into it, and it seems like everybody's okay with me going into it, we could definitely spend a little bit of time, because it's weird. It's like it's very, very weird, and this is a perfect point. So, to anybody who's listening in the future on the VOD, which almost never happens, I get very, very few views, we are going to talk about Japan Sinks 2020 once I get back from my cigarette. And I will be back from that cigarette in probably like 2 or 3 minutes, not too long. I'm also self-care. I'm also going to be drinking a bunch of water because this is kind of talky, and I want to make sure that my tongue doesn't turn into this dried out like lump of leather sitting in the middle of my mouth, because that's really gross. But we're going to be right back. Alright, we are back. And what did I miss before we get into this? Stories with endings. I'm familiar with those, yes. I totally have not been waiting for Hiroyuki Takei to finish an underwhelming mecha manga that's been on a hiatus for years. I've grown less and less patience with violence porn overall. I just generally find it off-putting for the most time anymore. Buttons, that's like a really big mood. And kind of one reason why I don't necessarily get into live-action disaster movies anymore. The violence and the implication of violence I find to be very off-putting. A lot of movies that are not in the horror genre as well, like I feel like less and less tolerance for violence that is framed in a real-world setting, and kind of as a sub-tangent. But I watched It Chapter 2 when it came out in the theaters, and the most affecting and the most troubling parts of that movie for me were in the first 20 minutes, where you have the assault on Adrian Mellon, I think his name was, as a gay character, which is the start of the book, is actually that attack. The way it was filmed, the way it was framed, was extremely uncomfortable to watch. I can't say whether or not it was something that should or should not have been cut from the movie, or changed when it was adapted to a movie, but it felt very real, and it bothered me a lot. The second part was Beverly and Tom is an abusive husband. It doesn't get into the graphic fight that's in the book. But the tension in that scene, because you clearly know that Tom is abusive, I mean, it worked. It worked maybe too well. It definitely left me feeling very squirmy. Once Chapter 2 got past those 2 points, it's a garbage movie. Like, it completely falls apart. It doesn't work on almost any of its levels. But those 2 bits, because they felt so real, definitely made me feel things, which can be a little bit rare for movies. What else did I miss here? Do I regret buying Jumbor? Yes. Do I want to see a fucking ending for it? Also, yes. You say violence porn and all I hear is Gantz. Holy, Gantz is a thing. Gantz is, that's a... I don't know if we have time for Gantz, but yeah. Trainwrecks getting endings is intriguing because you kind of want to know how the hell they're going to throw everything together. Yes. I looked at 3 seconds of the Netflix trailer and already knew who directed Japan Sinks 2020. Okay. I mean, the style is very distinctive, yeah. Case in point, me and my friend were bored, decided to marathon Maho Senso. It was astronomically bad. But the best part about the ending was that it was practically wasn't even an ending. Oh, those are painful, Kronos. Those are definitely painful. Best endings are cliffhangers teasing a new arc. No, Black Lamb! Come back! Come back to the light, Black Lamb! Masaki Yuasa is the director, so I'm kind of intrigued and also disappointed that he seems to have picked up such a conventional show. Losing some points on my side there. I mean, Yuasa's famous for his animation. He goes for more than the stories he adapts. Okay, I should probably look in and see. I'm sure that I have seen his work and just didn't realize that that's who it was. The animation's not bad. I would say, like, the character animation and the within-scene animation, for the most part, works. But, like, the actual earthquake section is in that, let's take one cell and just shake it up and down a lot, and that's the earthquake. Like, some of the the landscape shots, especially when there's movement in the landscape shots, feels very kludgy. There's a section in like episode 4 where there are a bunch of landslides, and it just doesn't look right. Is it stylized or is it conventional? I'd say it kind of hits a middle ground between the two. Like, it's definitely not conventional in the sense of it looks like most anime, because it doesn't. Like, the character models, the character designs don't really look like your standard, like stock standard characters. It feels like money's gone into it. How many elements of early 20th century Western cartooning does it incorporate? I couldn't tell you, Hive. Honestly, I'd love to tell you that, but I don't I don't know well enough, unfortunately, to kind of drill deep into that aspect of it. But okay, going forward, Japan Sinks 2020. Heads up, content warning, death, obviously, gonna be a lot of that. Attempted sexual assault, a little. I think those are the really, those are like the two big ones. Those show up. Drugs, but I don't know if drugs need a content warning. Maybe they do. Like, maybe they do for some folks, so just in case, like, that's an issue, drugs will show up as well. Maybe look at some shots from Kaiba by Yuasa on Google Images when you have the time for comparison and animation. I will do that thing. I will do that thing. It sounds like boring story with conventional for Yuasa animation, which is kind of bad on all levels. Seems fair enough. So yeah, we got our first episode. Our first episode introduces the main characters. We have the Muto family, and that is, excuse me, like, really? Are you just gonna fuck with me right now? Right when we're getting into things? Of course they are. Of course they are. What am I thinking? The Cocoa Butters. Nummy Muffin. Cocoa Butter. There we go. Oh shit! You're not dead? Oh, that's perfect! I love it! I love it! So the first episode introduces us to our main character family. We've got the Mutos. We have Ayumu, who is a track star, and she is practicing for tryouts for the next Olympics. And that already tells us when the animation was done, because, one, the 2020 Olympics are still a thing. She's practicing for 2024. 2020 Olympics are still a thing. Nobody is wearing masks. So clearly this is a pre-COVID production. There's no, there's no looking at COVID as a thing. It's not. You've got her brother Go, and her brother Go is a wannabe esports star who speaks English, which as a wannabe esports star is a good skill to have, and it's not super unusual for that. Although Go does use like egregious English throughout the series, as far as I've seen so far. I'm up to episode 6. He just will just drop English in any old place, and it's really weird. It's not bad weird, it just feels weird. You've got Dad. Dad is a construction worker, and big props, they got the safety harnesses right. I was really, really happy with that, because I was like, oh my god, I know that. I know how you use those, and they're using them right. It takes very little to make me happy. And you've got Mom, and Mom, very interestingly, is Filipino. And she's not a joke. She's not treated, there's no funny foreigner with Mom. There will be funny foreigners moving forward, but not Mom. Mom is pretty awesome. The first episode gets right into it. You get like a little bit of setup, like maybe 10 minutes of setup of these characters, And then we've got our earthquake. And that is the one part that kind of works. There's one scene that works in the earthquake section. Ayumu is in... There's been like a minor earthquake, like a pre-earthquake. And so they brought everybody, all the girl track stars, all the girl track runners, they brought them into the locker room. And they're like, okay, we're going to get you home. You need to get dressed, we're going to get home. And then the second earthquake, the big earthquake happens. And, like, of course, you know, it's an enclosed space. There's lots of things that move that are made of metal. So, basically, like, 90% of the girls are killed. And it's a really affecting scene when Ayuma's... She's trying to leave, and there's a girl who's been trapped under these lockers. And she's crying for help. Please help me. And, you know, there's blood on the face and everything. We know that she's probably going to die. And Ayumu panics, which is completely natural, and just runs. And that ends up being kind of part of her character, part of her story, is that people keep on getting killed around her, and she takes personal responsibility for those deaths, which is something that could be worked with, but nothing is really done with that. The first episode is just, it follows the main characters coming together at this shrine, and meeting up with some of the other secondary characters that will be following. There's Nanami, who I don't recall her connection to the family, and there's Haruo, who is like a former track star, but now he's a hikikomori, who's lost his mom and doesn't talk to anybody, which frankly I really wouldn't want to talk to anybody either if I just lost my mom. So, and that's like the first episode wrap, and it's not bad. First episode is pretty solid, to be honest. It sets up the stakes. We know what's going on. It's got a couple of decent emotional punches. Characters are thumbnailed, but they're clearly thumbnailed. Like, we have a good idea of who these characters are going to be moving forward, and that's really important for your first episode. And I was like, okay, like, we're in this. Let's do it. The second episode comes around. Second episode is very weird. Oh, let me make sure I don't miss anything. Chain gun or AR heavy rounds? Okay, I completely missed out on that. Sorry about that. I was talking to myself. It sounds like a boring... Yeah, that's... I saw that, and it is kind of boring. Cocoa Butter is the most aggressive demon... Oh, they're very aggressive, but they've got those dangly little hands, and I love them. Cocoa Butter just wants you to moisturize. They're a bit too enthusiastic. You know? I could see Cocoa Butter working at, like, a Lush shop, selling people lotion. I've sent you this Discord. Thank you, Hive, because I would have missed it. Kaiba doesn't have conventional blood? Okay. Actually, not very much bleeding overall. Excellent. Alright, so moving on. We get to our second episode, and the second episode is very tonally weird. Because, like, the first episode, we've already established that Okinawa has sunk into the ocean. It's gone. No more Okinawa. Thank you. I mean, that just... I love that. And by love that, I mean I don't love that at all. Okinawa's gone. Tokyo is completely wrecked. Fires everywhere. There's, like, firestorms going on. Evacuation centers have been overrun by fire. Like, everybody is killed. It's heavy. You know? Like, we're in the heaviness. And then, like, the second episode is, like, a breather episode. Family is... Yeah, fuck you, demon. We're in the middle of something here. Family is, like, walking up north. I can't remember exactly where they're walking. They have funny hijinks. Like, there's a place that's washed out, and there's a river. There's a waterfall. And they just, like, toss the sun into the river. it's a pretty steep drop, and the son has told us that he doesn't know how to swim. And they're like, yeet! Just yeet this fucker right into the river. But it's all played for laughs, you know, it's like it's all really fun and hijinks. There are wild boars, and there's a wild boar chase with the dad. And the dad catches the wild boar, they barbecue it up, everything's cool, we're just having a picnic, you know. Keep in mind that Japan is sinking. You know, we've just experienced the most massive earthquake that Japan's ever had. But let's have like a fun times episode, sure. Whatever, let's defuse the situation. They find a plot with yams. And there's been a plot point that's been established that Ayumu, our daughter, who is wonderful, I like Ayumu, she's a cool character, she doesn't like boar meat. And she's really unhappy with it, but she loves her dad's yams. So her dad's like, I'm gonna dig you up some yams, this is gonna be really great. So he hops over the fence, gonna dig up these yams, and he's digging, and he's digging, and he's digging, and Ayumu and Nanami, they go out and they're like, we're gonna find some other shit. I don't know why. And they notice that on the fence are warning signs that there is unexploded munitions left over from World War II in this area. That's why it's fenced off. That's why they don't want people going in there. And like, a second after they notice that, there's a huge fucking explosion and Dad is fucking dead. Just, goodbye Dad. Hope you didn't like that character, cause he's fucking dead now. Out of the clear blue sky. After a breather episode. After a complete, let's have fun, yeeting kids off the fucking cliff, joking around about catching a wild boar, Ayumu getting sick because she doesn't like boar, and it's just like, excuse me? Don't forget to use grenades. I think the strength of frag grenades are greatly underestimated in Doom. Let's check what I missed. Are there 30 to 50 feral hogs? There's one feral hog. And it's like, the whole chase scene of this hog, like, I need to, I really feel like I need to drill down here. This whole episode is like, it's very lighthearted. Which, again, like Buttons says, is complete tonal whiplash from the previous episode, which is very heavy. So this whole episode is just jokes, and it's lighthearted, and yeah, there's things that you could kind of see are maybe going to turn out bad for some of the characters who we don't really meet. They're kind of off characters. There's a split in the groups where the Muto family and Nanami and Haruo, they go west and the other group goes east and whatever, you know. But otherwise, it's like, you know, it's fun. We're having fun. Japan has had a complete meltdown, but we're having a good time. Oops, Dad's dead. Dad's dead. See you later, Dad. And he's very established, like, as a character within these two episodes. So it's definitely out of left field. Moments of levity in dire situations can be done pretty well, though. It doesn't feel like it works here. No. I mean, it doesn't. The actual scene where he dies is, like, it's well framed. I have to give it that. It's clear the emotional impact that it's had on the characters. I will give it that. But, like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work as a whole. Feral hogs! And they laughed at me when I told them not to release Harleys into the wild. Nug, as someone who spent a lot of time in Milwaukee, which is the birthplace of Harley, I appreciate that. I appreciate that deeply. Episode 3. Everybody is sad. Mom and Ayumu fight, which, I mean, is sensible. I think that's fair. They get picked up by some dude who turns out to be a sex pest. This is first, like, couple of minutes. If the best you could say is they correctly communicated what was happening, I mean, yeah, definitely. Ayumu and Chao, Mom and Nanami beat the shit out of the sex pest. Good job, girls! Girl power. And steal his car. Well, they don't steal his car, they steal his truck, because he's, like, transporting shit. Great! Then the truck breaks down. Okay, so they gotta walk again. Then Ayumu decides... Ayumu. Like, poor fucking Ayumu. She's gotta go to the bathroom. Hey, it's natural. People gotta go to the bathroom. So she and Nanami decide to walk down this, like, hillside to, you know, do their stuff. Nanami is in the lead. This is going to be important. Suddenly there's a voice calling from the sky. It's a parasailer. Hello? What? I guess just some dude parasailing along. Don't go down that hillside. Quick note. There is a quick shot where we can see that there's a bunch of dead birds on the hillside. Attention is drawn to it. Explanation is not. So we've got our dude. And our dude's just parasailing out there. I think that's what it's called, where you've got like the big rectangular parachute, but you've also got like a giant wind turbine fan that's like pushing you around. Ayumu looks down the slope. Nanami is dead. Like, just dead. Out of nowhere. This is the girl that... They've just given her, like, a pride shot, where when she beats the shit out of the sex pest, and there's, like, a lingering shot as she's looking at her hand. You know, like, power shot. So, like, they've built up Nanami to be a survivor and be a tough girl. She's fucking lying there dead. No saving her, because as our parasailer, whatever, tells us the ground is leaking poison gas. And just whoopsie doodles, Nanami was in the lead, so now she's dead. Okay. I guess we don't want to be getting too invested in these characters. Our paraglider is an Estonian YouTuber who lives in Japan, who our esports wannabe Go knows from YouTube. They actually use YouTube, by the way. They don't use like a fake brand name. Although they do use a fake brand name for Google. It's GoGo. GoGo search. Why? I don't know. The Estonian is at least kind of a cool character, but he's a little bit of a cold character as well, so he's kind of weird. Sorry, I saw now that you asked me that there's no conventional gore in Kaiba, such as blood, or people getting butchered, but... there's people... Wait, hold on a second. That's because the nature of the weapons used. There's people who die for sure, but those scenes are about sending an emotional message and do not care about any kind of violent support. That's a good thing to remember, and I will keep in mind. Kaiba sounds kind of interesting. Episode 3, after Nanami's impromptu, super uncalled for death, introduces a grandpa who hates foreigners and doesn't like Go because Go uses English all the time. The grandpa, turns out, also is a morphine addict. Why? Don't know. Just is. I think the implication is Grandpa has got cancer because he's a heavy smoker. It should also be pointed out that Grandpa has a robot dog thing. It's a dog robot that maybe is voiced by his dead grandchild. I wasn't really clear on that. Also, Grandpa, it's established, is a badass marksman with a bow and arrow, which will become an important plot point later. Like, there are already too many ingredients in the fucking pot. And I don't know where we're going with this. Later on, we meet Daniel. Daniel is Yugoslavian. He is the funny foreigner for the series. Oh boy, he's just funny. And that's like actually his gig. Like, he's a comedian slash magician who's keeps fake eyeballs and ears in his pocket so that he can do visual puns. Also, his pronunciation, it's hard really to describe this unless you're familiar with Japanese. And I don't mean that to say like that I've got some amazing ability with Japanese, because I really need to improve. My pronunciation could be better, my grammar could be way better. I definitely need to beef up my vocabulary. But there's a particular pronunciation style that they use with foreign characters where they want to show that the foreigner has actual Japanese skill. Like, it's not a broken Japanese style. They're definitely showing that this character has skill in Japanese. But they also want to show that the character is not Japanese. So the pronunciation is just it's like a little bit off. And it's something that's like really noticeable if you're familiar with the sound of Japanese, even if you're not great with it. And it's just one of those tiny things that like really gets under my skin, because it feels like it's just another one of those ways to say that foreigners will never really integrate in Japan. They'll always be just kind of off. And that just it grinds my gears. It like super grinds my gears. So we've got our funny foreigner character, and he's telling funny jokes, and he's got like he carries around a stuffed bear because, well, okay, he does have a reason for carrying around the stuffed bear, because he got it from his sister, and his family was killed in the wars in Yugoslavia, and this reminds him of his family and his sister. And like, yeah, that's a character beat, and I don't want to throw any fucking shade on diaspora folks, especially not diaspora folks who are coming from war environments, but at the same time, it just makes him seem like a fucking clown. Like, he's just our clown. He's our funny clown. Our main characters I feel like I need to front end everything with I am not making this shit up. Because I'm not making this shit up. Our main characters end up at a cult compound, like run by an actual cult, with a cult leader who maybe can speak to the dead. they don't ever really take a stand as to whether or not this is an actual supernatural ability or if she's just cold reading people. She also has a creepy 10-year-old child who helps her speak to the dead, but who never speaks himself. Also, the cult has got a really banging nightclub. Like, the cult raises weed, for one thing, so there's just like lots of marijuana all over the place. I feel like such an adult saying marijuana like that, by the way, because I would have never said it that way in, you know, when I was actually using it. TOS. But not only are they doing the dope, they also seem to have a pretty steady supply of coke, and they're just pumping it up their noses. You know, as one does after a major earthquake has just destroyed most of Japan. Just nightclub it up. Got the beat going. But the cult might actually be, I think, run by or connected to the Yakuza. So that's a thing. Also, old guy goes on a kill spree with his bow and arrow. Just starts killing folks because he's pretty sure that the kid who helps the speaker for the dead is his dead granddaughter. Remember that we've established the fact that, like, the kid is definitely a boy. Grandpa's kid is definitely a girl. I think he's having morphine hallucinations or withdrawal symptoms. That's not really how withdrawal works, but, you know, he's just riding around on a motorized wheelchair, fucking yeeting arrows into people. And last but not fucking least, we've got a guy who's a submarine pilot. Except I think submarines have captains, but they call him a pilot. Who is paralyzed from the neck down, but can't speak. I mean, with like full body paralysis, I mean, I guess, but he doesn't really have full body paralysis because he can move his finger and he can blink his eyes and he can communicate with Morse code. Luckily, Ayumu figures this out and learns that our quadriplegic submarine pilot, hold on. I gotta hold on a second. Our quadriplegic submarine pilot can predict earthquakes. He's been trying to tell the cult that's been taking care of him. I don't know why they have him. It's not explained at all. They just got this dude. He's been trying to tell them that there's like another massive earthquake coming. The massive earthquake comes, and of course, like, everything is fucked. Everything gets killed. There's like a heist that's going on where some of the cult members are trying to steal like all this gold that the cult has been collecting. But then some Yakuza members come out and they have like a shootout And then the speaker to the dead lady comes out, and she's got a fucking samurai sword. Also, there's like a pretty explicit sex scene that happens before all of this. Bullets fly, people die. The speaker for the dead runs up to the top of the tower, which is where the boy, the child that the grandpa's trying to save, because he thinks that this is his granddaughter. The boy is up there. Remember, the boy has never talked at all. Never said anything. We don't know what the boy's gig is. So she runs up. She steps into the room where the boy is. The boy stands up and screams in this completely bathos moment, "Mother!" At which point, a giant fucking stone drops from the ceiling and crushes his head. Just, I can't. I don't know if we will, Kronos. I couldn't look at chat because I had to kind of get this narrative out. Rabbits, welcome! Welcome to you, Rabbits! Wrapping up episode 6. And this is as far as I've gone. So this is going to be finished except for discussion that y'all want to do about this. And I'll bounce off you, of course, as always. Alright. Hold on. Just give me a second. Just give me a second here. Okay. Grandpa's been locked up in the basement. Because he tried to kidnap the kid, the helper to the speaker of the dead. He's been let out of the basement by the Estonian, who is going to try to take him back up to the tower. They find out that the kid is dead. Grandpa admits that he knew this whole time that the kid wasn't his granddaughter. So what the fuck was that plot point? Dunno. They're leaving, but he's having trouble walking. The Estonian's carrying him on his back. Grandpa bites the Estonian so that the Estonian will drop him because he wants to be left behind. I don't know why. The Estonian takes off, meets up with the family. The family's got in the pickup truck. They're trying to escape. Cult members are trying to stop them for some reason, even though everybody can fucking leave because the gates have been open. Grandpa is fucking snipering people from the top of this tower. As the tower is collapsing, he's got that bow and arrow. He's just working it. Patoom, patoom, patoom. Estonian runs up to the truck. Everybody escapes. Episode ends. And I have no fucking idea what the hell is going on. I mean, as long as you acknowledge that, I'll hold back. I'll hold back on the advice. No, absolutely. I'm legitimately not convinced this is a rejected Nicolas Cage film. They could, if they wanted to get Nicolas Cage to do like one of the voices in the American dialogue. The American dialogue. Fuck me. You know what? That was shitty to say. If they want to do one of the Nicolas Cage doing one of the voices in the English dialogue, would not be out of place. Not at all. advice is always welcome, Kronos. I'm not sure what the acknowledgement is in relation to, but I'm always happy for advice. Don't worry about that. I think we're fucking up because I'm not paying attention, because I'm trying to deal with the madness that is Japan Sinks. So, I mean... Oh, when I mentioned this level might not be done. That's fair. You know, if we don't get it done, that's okay. We've stopped levels midway through. I feel like I've got the energy in me to at least, like, put in another hour. And I certainly had a fuck of a lot of fun describing the whole whatever the hell that I've been watching for the last 2 days. But if it turns out like my voice starts going and we need to take a break, then that's not a big deal. I recommend any of you Awesome's other series. I mean, I don't recommend this one, so you can't... Is Japan Sinks based on a manga or light novel, or is it original? I know there was... I need to check. Rabbit. Also, like... Why did I lose the screen there for a second? That was weird. We're still running. We didn't lose anything. I know there was a movie. Hive is saying that there was a 70s novel. I know it's an old property. Like, it's been around for a long time. But this is like it's an update. It's a new version. But not new enough to include the coronavirus. So there's that. It's so, like, it's... I don't even know. I feel like it would be fun as a drinking game. Because, here's the thing. They could have played it straight. They could have played it completely straight. And they could have made a really heavy musing on death. Like, all the pieces are there. And that could have been a good story. But they just seem to have decided to go completely gonzo. And it's a mess. I don't know if it's a wonderful mess or not. Like, I don't know if we're talking Friday the 13th Part 6, which is amazing, or if we're talking Friday the 13th Part 8, which is fucking garbage. So... like... get some friends together, tank up, and maybe watch episode 2 or 3? I think you should stick to Frag Grenade. When you kill enemies while they're dying, they'll drop HP regardless. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't, like... Honestly, Hive, for my own feeling, I would say it's not gonzo enough. Like, I don't think... Here's the weird thing, is like, it is so bizarre. It is so tonally off the wall. But they could lean into it way harder, and they don't. And I don't know why. And that's kind of what I meant when I was talking in the Discord the other night. It's like, just pick a tone. If you're gonna do serious, then do it. If you're gonna go wild, then do it. But there's this kind of, like, they don't know what they want to do. And so they try to do a couple of different things at the same time, and it doesn't quite work. So, yeah? I don't know, like, I don't recommend it. That would be saying a lot. To say that I think you should watch it. I think it's watchable. Like, the animation is largely easy on the eyes. I do like the mom character. I do like Ayumu. I liked Nanami before they decided to just fucking yeet her into the sun. The Estonian YouTuber is not a bad character. He's a watchable character at least. And interestingly enough, the Estonian YouTuber doesn't have the accent that the clown has. So that's kind of weird. The esports wannabe little kid is... I mean, there's worse little kid characters. I've seen far worse little kid characters. He's not it, but he's not like a particularly good character either. He's not really compelling. So, I don't know. I guess if you don't have anything better to watch, it's not something that I would say don't watch. Like, it's not in that camp. It's not nearly offensive enough. It's not boring enough. And it might go places. I mean, I'm only on episode 6. Who knows? You know, it might pick up. God, I hope it picks up. PT is pleasantly twisted. She is an amazing YouTuber. She's not a YouTuber. She's a Twitch streamer. She runs a very welcoming community, and she runs it very, very well. She is, as she says in her intro, she is a black queer content creator. She does writing as well. She does art. Her art's pretty damn amazing. I'm pretty sure that she did her emotes, unless I'm misinterpreting something. But she's 100% somebody who I could hands down and without qualification say is a worthwhile person to spend your time with. Extremely informative. And her takes are very well thought out. They're very educational, and they're very engageable. And she herself is very, very engageable. So, I should track down her channel and put it into the chat. But yes, what did I miss? Honestly, felt like each episode got halfway through addressing a topic and then shrugged and moved on. Buttons, like, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Watch the link I sent you. Tell me if it would have been better with that animation style, because it sounds ridiculous enough that the animation style should have fit it. Hive, I recommend. I 100% recommend PT's Discord. Kite! Kite is the... Wait. Kite is the name of the Estonian YouTuber in the video? In Japan Sinks? So I don't know if that's supposed to be an Easter egg. I've ready access to Devilman Crybaby, which I've heard good things about, and keep your hands off of Azelcon, which I need to take a look at, because I've heard so many good things about that. Ta-da! Ta-da? The Koizumi reform. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, Koizumi did a number of reforms that were not necessarily good. There's two really big ones that I can think of. One was a change in the way that companies could use dispatch workers. Kind of like manpower temp workers. We call them dispatch workers over here. Haken. Or Haken Shah. Wait, is that right? I need to check that now. Anyways, it used to be that companies could use only a very small percentage of dispatch workers. and it made it basically that companies needed to retain employees and needed to hire regular employees to do low-level work and then build those employees up into like a career. And the old system, the old uh, business model or like career path model was you would get a job and you'd stay with that company basically your whole life. You would pick up regular bonuses and regular pay increases and would generally move up the ranks of the hierarchy based on time. There are a lot of issues with that. Like, it meant that a lot of people who really didn't probably deserve to move up the company ranks did. But it also meant that if you could get into a company, that your future was basically secured. You would probably never be rich. You'd probably never climb that high, but you were pretty much guaranteed to have an income that would be increasing, a salary that would be increasing with cost of living, and would be strong enough that you could have a family, have kids, maybe do a little bit of investment. The changes to labor law that Koizumi did basically put a giant cherry bomb in that. And it made it so that for most part, companies didn't retain workers the way that they used to. That you had a whole generation or more of young people who would not be able to get a company job, would only be able to get dispatch work, would get shuffled around like company to company by the whatever dispatch company that they worked for. Their wages would stay stagnant and they would never build any seniority. And that has had knock-on effects of like getting married, establishing families. The marriage rate has dropped like a fucking rock. People get married later because it's hard to establish that foundational money to do the family. The birth rate was already falling. The birth rate's been falling since at least the 1980s, but this certainly didn't fucking help. And basically it meant that you had just this huge class of workers in very, very unstable situations that would never really be able to get out of those situations. That's one of the big Koizumi reforms that I can think of off the top of my head. The other one, I don't know this one as much in depth, but there was a change to the way that the government could access the saving funds of the Japan Post, because Japan Post acted as like a bank for a lot of people, because it was very, very stable. And Koizumi instituted some changes that allowed the government to basically access the funds that were in the Japan Post and supposed to pay them off, and I don't think they did, and ended up getting like a lot of deficit spending. So I would probably guess, if I had to guess, I would need to look at the whatever it is that you're looking at in specific to see what it is that you're digging at. But I would think it was the labor law reforms, because that has had like a big, big shadow over particularly Japanese young people since the late 1990s. Let me think, because we are at the 2-hour point. I think what I want to take like a really quick break here, because TMI, but I kind of need to use the bathroom. And I definitely need some water because that was a lot of talking for me. Gonna take a quick break. We're gonna do 2 2 more shots at this section. And regardless of how well we do, I think we're probably going to stop at the next checkpoint. I don't think that we're going to push on through the entire chapter, just as kind of a heads up. I can't watch your next Doom vid to the next week. It happens. I mean, no, I think probably we should stop at the next checkpoint, because I don't want to get into a really big beefy section that I'm not going to have the throat to finish. People are allowed to like bad things sometimes, as long as they acknowledge the bad in them or are open to learning about the bad in them. That's definitely a good point, Hive. I mean, if we get to it, I think it's going to be very hard to find media that is pure. All media is going to come with either fucked up creators or like racism or sexism or ableism that's baked into the media. I hope that we're moving beyond that, and I hope that bringing more marginalized groups to the table as far as producing these stories will help address those issues. But if we're looking at any past media, it's gonna have problems. The issue is, like I think you said, denying that those problems exist, refusing to learn from those problems, refusing to engage with where is our line, what is something that we feel is kind of within our acceptable range. That's where the big issue is, I think, because a lot of people, I don't think, want to address those. They like this thing from when they were kids, and that they don't want to hear anything about it. They don't want to hear anything bad about it. Just ignore all the bad stuff exists, and that's not doing anything. That's not helping anybody. I think it's fair. Honestly, I think this mission is one of the hardest in the games. In that case, probably we are definitely well off for that. But let me get my break in here before I screw my voice up enough that we can't do it anymore. I'm reading a manga, and one of the main characters, middle-aged and now jobless and homeless Japanese, said, and I quote, What the Koizumi reform brought is exactly this. I think he was referring to getting robbed by a homeless kid he tried to help. Let me think about that, Black Lab. Come back to that when I get back. Black Lamb, I think I know what that's in reference to. I had thought that those reforms were earlier. I thought that they were late 80s, but they definitely could have been within Koizumi's tenure. And I think from the context, what that is talking about what's called the Yuta style education reforms. Basically, somebody recognized that Japanese kids were burning out, like at a really fierce rate. And the suicide rate among Japanese kids was very, very high. And also, like, kids dropping out of school and kids becoming shut-ins was a big issue. So they instituted a series of educational reforms that one of the big ones I remember was that it cut the school week down to 5 days because the school week was 6 days. I think it may have lowered some standards, but I couldn't ever get like a really firm grasp on all the different reforms that the schools made. It outlawed corporal punishment for students, which, for example, if you watch Akira, the movie, where the gym teacher is like just beating the shit out of Kaneda and his gang, that was kind of normative through the 80s, but they kind of dialed that back where it wasn't allowed to beat kids, which, you know, you would think is a good thing. However, and I should point out once again, I know I pointed it out before, but just in case anybody's watching who doesn't know, most of my students were boomer age. That was like the prime demographic was boomer or older. They hated these reforms. Netbrad, welcome. Welcome and wonderful. It's very great to see you. We're talking about education reform in Japan. But it's so good to see you, Nep. And I hope that you're doing very, very well. The general feeling, and I think that this is actually kind of held because Yuru it means loose or lax, and it's not really a positive term. That this became, like, Yuru style became the catchword for this style of education. The general feeling among my students was that schools had become too soft on kids. And the kids, this is like boomers, right? This is straight boomers. That the kids were weak, that the kids were less inclined to follow social norms. Like, it's kind of weird, because on one hand they would say, like, oh, these kids today are too soft, and the kids that have graduated, now they're going into schools, check out, now they're going into companies, and they can't stick with the company, because they're not hard enough to do the hard, free overtime that we did, you know, that my boomers, right? That when we were young, and we had to work 90-hour weeks and 120-hour weeks, and we did it because we loved the company, and that's why we're strong. But these kids now, they can't stand up to a rude manager. They can't work the long hours. It's because the education system was too soft. But also, these kids are too rude, and they're bucking against the social systems and the social norms of Japan. They don't understand what it's like to be really Japanese, and, you know, we didn't rough them up enough when they were young. We let them get away with too much, and now they think they can take everything. So you've got, like, kind of like both sides of the coin. And all of my students, all my boomer students, put this down to this educational style that was instituted. And I guess if we're thinking about the same thing, if the manga's talking about the same thing that I'm thinking of, I guess that must have been done in Koizumi's term. It's weird that the translation would call it the Koizumi reform, because That's not how it would be referred to here. And there are, like I said, there's a bunch of reforms that Koizumi did that kind of fucked up the country. Um, so it's like, I don't see how somebody would, like, I don't know how somebody would be able to read that from the context and understand what was being talked about there. I've heard things that make me intrigued because a lot of people found it super emotional, but other people, a smaller number, found it super rushed and flat. I was just surprised because the animation style, besides the animation style, I think it's one of the worst animes I've seen. Alright, so that's Devilman Crybaby. I have not watched Devilman Crybaby, so I can't speak to it myself. Yudu as in the Yudu in Yudu Camp. Yes. Yes. Hive, that is exactly it. Because the Yudu Camp, if I understand correctly, is like, it's a very soft presentation. That the characters are very soft. Also, like, mascots in Japan are referred to as Yurukera. And the design of mascots tends to be, like, not detailed, not hard-edged, but lots of soft, like, lots of curves, lots of soft shapes. I personally see Devilman Crybaby in the same vein as Last of Us 2. It tries to say a lot and fails. Ooh. Okay, okay. I feel like there was need for translator note that wasn't there. I mean, like, it feels like Black Lamb that I'd have to see it in the original Japanese, but it feels like something where you'd need to have, like, kind of a solid background on the era to know what they're going with. And that's a really hard thing to translate, especially as time moves on, because there's kind of going back to the beginning of the stream, that there's a lot of things that we think are just kind of base level knowledge that really aren't, and tend to fade out as we move forward. The only reason I know about, like, the labor stuff and the education stuff is that those were two really big common topics that we got into with my students. And my students got to kind of teach me a lot of how these things worked. But if I hadn't been doing that style of lesson, if I hadn't been, you know, bringing in newspaper articles and getting the students to talk about those articles, I probably wouldn't have known about it. I'd say the other Science Saru, the animation studios shows, are much better, like Ping Pong or Eizouken. Yes. We talked about Ping Pong. People have recommended Ping Pong to me, so I probably should take a look at it. I definitely need to take a look at Eizouken, because I've heard that Eizouken is really, really good. And we've got Squids in chat. Nep, you came, like, I do apologize, because, like, we kind of got into a bit of a deep dive. Things that I wouldn't have been able to talk about if I had been paying attention to the game at the same time. I'm having a great time with Doom. I think Doom is a hell of a lot of fun. I'm definitely getting yeeted into the sun a lot, but I deserve it. Oh, this was not well thought out. I like that we've just got, like, straight up just floating triangles here. Is it floating triangles all the way down? Yep. Okay, we broke the geometry again. Oh shit. I thought we'd be able to get up top. 2 episodes of Ping Pong I've seen have already been super good. Like, I really like Taiyo Matsumoto's other work. We've talked about that before. I honestly think that Tekkon Kinkuri is one of my favorite manga, and the anime is just extremely strong, and it's one of those things that I think I could definitely recommend to folks. It's very, very solid on. I really ought to watch Ping Pong and see how well the animation style captures Matsumoto's drawing style, because he's got a very fluid style, and that's something that I love. And he's got, like, you can really feel the motion in his style. And that's one thing that I really appreciated out of Tekken Concrete, is that the animation of that really captures the feeling of movement that the manga has. Also, the soundtrack is pretty banging, so that's a thing too. It's floating triangles because you were inside of geometry, and the way polygons are drawn on screen, they're only visible one way. I mean, fair enough. Excuse me, Monkey Buddy. But also, Monkey Buddy, I really need you to not be alive anymore. Thank you. I could possibly grab it for you in Japanese somewhere if you like that. Is Takashi Murakami's Hoshi Mamoru Inu. I mean, I can look it up, Black Lamb. I don't want you to feel like you've got to do research work for me. If you've got like a link on hand, then by all means just DM it to me. But otherwise, I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look for it myself. Hellraiser, why did you make part 3? Hellraiser, that CD head guy was stupid. No, nope, that's not the word that we're gonna use. That CD head guy was silly as fuck. That's a better term. Stop throwing dildos at me, Jesus effing Christ! It's not called for. I don't want your flaming dildos. Wasn't that a band? Wasn't there a band called Flaming Dildos? Oh, is that just me misremembering things? Because I do that a lot. Oh, you suck. Oh, you totally suck. Hold on, is there any health anywhere? I don't want the haste yet. I mean, I should totally take the haste. And I should definitely be doing more power-ups, because I always leave them sitting and thinking I'll use them later, and I don't. Have I completed Isaac? Actually, Netbrad, I've completed Isaac probably 9 or 10 times at this point. Not on stream. We haven't completed Isaac on stream. But goodness gracious, dildos of fire. Honestly though, honestly, but yeah, Isaac has been my go-to for a long time now, and like Isaac is definitely a hard game. It can be a hard game, but it's also one of those games where if you're halfway decent at it, it's mostly time. Like, you will eventually 100% or 1,001% Isaac. It just comes down to RNG. I should use grenades. That was not the way you use grenades. Not at all. You know what? Fuck you. Oh shit. I was gonna get all chainsaw-y, and we didn't have any chainsaw ammo. That's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna throw shotgun shells at these things until they die. Oh, you bastard! You are such a... Why? You know, you... Just... Why? Why? It's fair. It's fair. How many demons' arms have I torn off and just thrown into the sun like that? I think my problem with watching animated stuff, this is from Hive, and I missed it, is I tend to fall into formalism when watching them, so I enjoy things as animation qua animation. And then, if I have the presence of mind, I'm able to see past that and start interrogating the text itself. Hive, that is super understandable. Like, that is... Yes. And that's a problem that I have myself, where I tend to lose myself on the first viewing, and oftentimes the second and sometimes the third viewings, in the experience itself, and judging it on that, and not taking the effort or not having the presence of mind to go back and actually look at what I've watched. And it's the reason, that's exactly, in a nutshell, that is exactly the reason why I was able to recommend to you, without a second thought, Hellraiser 2, and sell Hellraiser 2 as a good movie, as a good experience. And it did not ping in my mind. Even though I knew the story, even though I knew the scenes, but it did not ping in my mind why that movie is a fucking problem. And I will continue to feel bad about that for basically ever. As someone who studied photography, I can have a similar problem with cinematography sometimes. I mean, if a movie is even halfway well done, it's, or, you know, whatever media that we're talking about at the moment, it can be, I think, easy to just not take that extra step. I think Devil May Cry Baby might be a nice watch if you turn off sounds and subtitles and just build your own story. Okay. I mean, that's not a terrible exercise. Also, thank you, demons, for killing each other. If you could do that more often, it would be neat. I'm gonna go with neat. Like a potato. I just think neat. I've only seen the first episode, and it seemed like it would play just as well, if not better, just watching the animation. Because it is a trip. Huh. Well, there's gotta be, like, meme versions out there. Or soundless versions. Because there's, like, a version of everything. I'm a simple creature and just watch stuff for the hell of it. I mean, I understand, Kronos. And I can't even throw shade. Like, there's 0% shade coming from here. But I think taking that extra look can be an important thing to do. Especially if you're thinking of recommending things to somebody. Yeet! Oh, could you not, though? Really? Do you need to flamethrower everything? Do you need to be walking the flames? Okay, kill that other dude. How about that? Fuck. Oh, you... It's the dudes again! I hate them. I hate those dudes. For what it's worth, Japan Sinks 2020 is getting worse reviews than Devil May Cry Baby. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm gonna keep watching it, and it's not even a hate watch. Like, I honestly want to know where the hell this story is going. Like, what it is they're trying to do. But it's a thing. Frag grenade, everybody's coming to get me. You say you never met me. Something about being underground in the moles, digging holes? I don't know, I haven't listened to that song in like a month. Okay, like, you all have to effing die. Oh, Jesus. Who knows? Maybe Madoka isn't even a good show. I mean, things can have problems and still be worthwhile pieces of entertainment. Monica has problems. There are issues, I think, with how certain things are presented with Monica, and it's something I should really do another watch through to pick up, to be able to speak more in depth about it. But even with those problems, I mean, I think that you can get a worthwhile experience out of it. It's just acknowledging that problems are there, and being able to see why they're there, and thinking about how they could be better. No, not the BFG. And that's not the BFG, that's Scout's Cannon. Oh, that was very satisfying. That was very satisfying. I want to do that again. Come here. Why am I not using, like, all the cool shit? I've got all this cool stuff. I should be using it. What do you mean Hive? I mean, Devilman Crybaby just does not work as a story at all. It would have to fundamentally change. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about Devilman as a property itself, so I don't know how much of that is it being intrinsic nature to hitting those specific plot beats. And this is why I mostly don't engage in anime and manga channel, and Kazi's I have nothing worth saying. That's not true. Kronos, that's not true. The experience that you have with something is worthwhile input into a conversation. And it's input that can be a springboard into a larger discussion. You shouldn't feel like you don't have anything to say. I mean, if that's the way you feel, I can't press you to say more than you do, or more than you want to. And I don't want to do that, but to think that, like, a priori that you don't have a stake in this conversation, or you don't have a perspective to add, that I don't think is right. And even at worst, there's always the chance for questions. There's always the chance to pick something up that maybe you didn't see the first time. I don't want the Gauss cannon now. I mean, it's beautiful, but... Also, if anybody's saying something in chat, like, I super apologize, but I just can't look at it right now. I'm kinda stuck killing these dudes. Alright, at least we're doing better than we did the last couple times. Oh shit, cocoa butter. Nummy muffin. Fuck! Oh, you... Plot Pizza the Go Nagaya original. I've only read a little bit of the original Devilman, so I can't weigh in there. If I remember correctly, and this is a big if, so take this with a bit of a grain of salt. If I remember correctly, that parents groups hated Devilman when it came out, because they felt that it was too graphic, and Go Nagai's response to that was to make it even more graphic. That would be something to check. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but it feels right. Sometimes thinking about, talking about a thing, how you like a thing is sufficient conversation. Yes, it is. Yes. I 100% endorse Hive's statement there. It can lead you into developing a sense of media literacy or consider things in a different way that make you appreciate things more than you did before. I mean, yeah, I got a big, like, #1 for Hive foam finger that I'm waving around in the air right now. I don't actually have that, but, I mean, imagine that I have that because that's how I feel. Example, I learned that I'm the only one in Discord who's seen End of Evangelion who sees it as an unequivocally hopeless ending. That's fair. I mean, I have a lot I want to say about Madoka, but I can't count the amount of times I get shot down from trying to get a momentum going. At various places, not Kazi's, mostly because I haven't tried yet. I mean, I think that's shitty. I don't know if that's the experience that you would have in Kazi's. I've never talked about Madoka and Kazi's Discord before. I would hope not. I would be very interested in hearing what you have to say about the property. I mean, I know we have talked about it, but let's be honest, we talked about this like 2 years ago, so basically my chances of having a deep memory of those conversations is pretty slight. But at the very least, I would be interested. At best, it gets no response. At worst, it becomes a hate fest for Madoka. It's what a weird show. Fair? What's your next live stream about? Do you mean, Netbrad, do you mean like the next long game? Because the next long game that we're gonna do is the Resident Evil 1 remake. After that, I don't know, because the plan was to do Doom, Resident Evil 1, and then Borderlands 3. But I kind of had to sell Borderlands 3 to make a nut, like, a couple months ago. That's not make a nut in the, you know, the perverse sense. That's make a nut in the sense that I need to pay some bills. So I don't have Borderlands 3 anymore, which I'm largely okay with. If we're gonna be 100% honest, I don't miss it, but definitely the next long form is going to be Resident Evil 1. And then we'll see what it looks like after that. That's pretty weird. I personally quite liked Madoka. I did myself as well, Rabbit. I could see how, like, I kind of feel like Madoka is one of those series that is setting a certain genre tone, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like there are other pieces, there are other series that have gone back to similar well, and that if you came to Madoka after seeing those, like, those series, that it might not hit quite as hard, because it's like, oh, I've seen this trope before, oh, I know where this is going. But for me, because I don't watch a lot of anime, I don't even, to be honest, I don't really read a lot of manga either. So, like, a lot of those tropes were new to me, and I thought it was pretty cool. I really liked how it handled time travel. I thought that was very cool. And I liked how that impacted the characters, particularly how it impacted the character of Madoka. So, like, I'm down with it. I can see where there are complaints. I could definitely see where there might be complaints, but certainly not to the extent where I would just, like, step on a conversation, just end it. You know what? We really ought to be using the gauze cannon, and we really ought to be using the frag grenades, and we should be building more distance. Hey, Cocoa Butter. Where are you? Hello? There you are. Oh, you fucker. Why do I have to stand still? What? We didn't have to stand still before. Did we? I thought that, like, I didn't think that we had to stand still. I thought we could run around when we were charging up our cannon. Oh! I know why. Because we took that silly power-up. And it's a different power-up. That's why. Alright. Alright. Alright, I got it. I got it. I see it. I see the problem. No, why? Risco, why? Why would you do that? How do I change this? There we go. That's our precision bolt. That's what we needed. This is going to be my last shot at this particular thing. If we do it, if we get it done, that's wonderful. If we don't, then it's okay. I had a good time. Yes, yes, Crucible, whatever. Hey, Demon. Hey, Imp. Alright, you guys just kill each other. Yeet! Where are you going? I'm aware there are people in Kazi's who aren't on board with Oda Butcher's work. I mean, he seems to come by his title honestly, which is to say, he kind of seems like an asshole to his characters. I could see how that would be wearying over time. Like, to see it just once in Madoka, like, just that series, I didn't really have a problem with it, but I think if it was... excuse me, but that monkey buddy just fucking teleported? Just turned invisible? Invisible monkey buddy? How's that work? Right. Right. We're just gonna do this. Why do I like the gameplay in this level. I want to point that out. I've had a really good time with the gameplay in this level, even though I've been playing kind of trash. And I admit that. That's on me. But I just don't like the visual style of Hell. Which I realize sounds really, really silly, but it just feels dull. It's like, okay, we've got lots of rocks, basically. Lots of rocks. It's kind of a fantasy, kind of a temple, kind of a castle. It's just, you know, whatever. I could totally see people feeling the same way about the space station sections, by the way. Because they are also, I think, of their genre. But I still like them. The Hell stuff is, like, I don't know. Might as well be in Final Fantasy. Without the racism. It helps that Madoka's characters are designed by the one who wrote... oh, crumbs. I missed that. Give me a second. I want to catch that. Are designed by the one who wrote Hidamari's Sketch, which is one of my favorite slice of life shows. Oh. Then I should probably take a look at Hidamari's Sketch. Floaty Islands is my jam. I will... Yes, it is absolutely my jam. But... Hell is not made by Floaty Islands alone. You can't just toss hummus on stuff and expect me to say it's a meal. Even though I do love hummus. Oh, crumbs. Cocoa butter. Look, you're doing a thing, and I love you for it, but you gotta kind of fudge off. Give me space? Where are you? There you are. Oh, crumbs. Don't miss. That's not... Fuck it. It was very gruesome, wasn't it? I was in a pretty dark place when I watched it, so it didn't faze me at all. I guess later parts of the story are more interesting. Alright, so that's about Psychopaths. And I only know Psychopaths by name. I don't really know anything about it. My friend who recommended me Psychopaths thought it's because I don't like dark stuff, but it was just badly written episode of television. It spends its first half standing still with exposition, and then engaging in pointless and weightless brutality. Like, a hive... And I know that our opinion's different on this one, but... That's basically the Devil's Rejects for me. It was just darkness with no reason to care, if that makes sense. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I 100% follow you on that one. Yeah, I'll lose the unsaved progress. We'll figure it out next episode. I know they say Spooky Boogie a lot in Psychopaths. Huh. That's interesting. This is not... Hold on a second. I want to check something. What was the... PD Psycho. Okay, so Psychopaths and MPD Psycho are completely different stories. Because I remember seeing a little bit of MPD Psycho and just effing hating it. There was something about the way that they... Content warning, slight body horror. They were like cutting off the tops of people's heads and like growing flowers in them. Now I did see that way before I understood basically any Japanese, so maybe I could go back to it and find some value, but I'm gonna guess probably not. Spooky Boogie is the alias of a bad guy. Gotcha. Devil's Rejects, I will contend as actual character work and arcs, but 100% see where you're coming from with your assessment of the movie. And we do agree. Like, I think the character story, I think it's a lot stronger than House of a Thousand Corpses. And I can see the value of Devil's Rejects as a piece of cinema over House of a Thousand Corpses, but I think probably we've got very similar reads on the story, but we're ending up in slightly different places. If you want moody sci-fi cyberpunk, I think Ergo Proxy has much better plot than Psychopaths. Ergo Proxy. I'm not taking notes, and I need to be taking notes, because there's been a couple of things that have been mentioned today that I feel like would be cool. Hidamari's sketch is the one that I want to track down. And Ergo Proxy. Ergo Proxy is a much better plot than Psychopaths. Okay, okay. Its animation studio, Monglobe, has a lot of great shows, like Samurai Flamenco. I liked. I liked Chigao. Wait, Dochi? Samurai Champloo or Samurai Flamenco? Which one of those two, Rabbit? Which one was the one in Okinawa? It was Samurai Champloo, right? Was the Okinawa one? Because I've seen one of those shows, but I recognize both names, and I can't think of which one that I saw. I see a bit of myself in all the main cast of Hidamari. Like, oh, and there's a lot of it to watch. That is less of a selling point than you might think. Champloo is Okinawa, yes. Flamenco is Super Sentai Love Letter. Okay, then Champloo is the one that I remember. Champloo is the one that I saw. And I really liked that. I enjoyed that very, very much. In a way, watching Hidamari sketch is a way to get to know me. Oh, well, fuck. I mean, okay, Kronos, you've sold me. I'm sold. I am sold. Because if there's anything that I want, it's to know you folks better. I mean, we spend so much damn time together that I'd really like to say that I do know you. So now, let's see if that's on Netflix, J-Side Netflix, because now I have to watch it. It's required. Studio Shaft. The studio within Madoka. Everything is Madoka. And Madoka is suffering. Apparently. That's what I learned, basically. But everything comes back to Madoka. Probably somehow we could probably like 6 degrees of 7 bake. Chigao. Disco. 言葉が使えるよ。もう英語使えるよ。やろう。はい。もうこの飲みそはダメだ。はい、はい、はい、はい、はい。We could probably 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, not 6 degrees of 7 bacon. We could probably 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, Madoka to everything. I think that's what I was gonna go for. That's what I wanted to say, and I forgot what I was saying it in regards to. I bet we could somehow tie together Devil's Rejects and Madoka, either by theme or by production. But it would have we could do that. We could definitely do that. Being Megaka is suffering. I'm still kind of cheesed off, by the way, that because I mentioned this to Kronos way back when when I was actually watching Madoka, and I'd seen Madoka written in Ramaji many times. I mean, it's a well-known series, so you see it every now and then on posters and shit like that. And for the longest time, I thought that the pronunciation was magica. Like magic, you know? Like the G would be the same as the G in magic. And I thought that was a clever pun. Because, like, magica means, like, for real? And I thought it was, like, kind of like a backhanded slam on Madoka. Like, really? Madoka? Magica? Madoka? But it's Magika? The gi? And not the G sound? And when I first learned that, I was like really fucking disappointed. I was like, come on, the pun is right fucking there. Magica. If we were writing it in Ramaji, with the sound in Japanese, it would look like this. Or in katakana, because it probably would be written in katakana. It would look like this, which is katakana and hiragana together, because I screwed up. Masaka! Oh, fuck! Right, okay. Hi, rabbits. sorry. My brain did not parse that at all as Japanese, and I thought that you were checking my pronunciation. Masaka! How many? This is why I think like 3 hours is our cut point, because either my throat falls apart, which interestingly enough, my throat feels pretty good for once. Like it was a great pun. It worked. It worked really well. My throat actually feels pretty fine. I guess all the water actually does help. But if the throat doesn't fall apart, clearly the brain meats do. It's one or the other, but never both. Never both at the same time functional. um, Wind up. Let's do the wind up because it's clearly time. Folks, I had a wonderful time tonight. I really, really appreciate, like, I can't say how much I appreciate the fact that you all gave me space to just dump out the entire clown car that is Japan Sinks 2020. Because I feel like I needed to lance that boil. I don't know if I could make, if I was able to make it as entertaining to you as it was to me. Because let me tell you, by the end of it, like the absurdity, the entire absurdity of that whole situation, I could see it. I could see it in all its glory. And it was a thing of beauty. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate that we kind of got to dig into a couple of different media properties and looking at media properties, and I love it when we have these conversations. I wish that I could devote the attention to both the game and the conversation at the same time. Clearly I have problems with that. But like, and I'm glad that y'all can bounce off each other well enough that I don't necessarily need to do all the heavy lifting. That the conversation can happen without me, and the fact that you're all kind of, well, how do I want to say it? You all seem to know each other well enough that you can talk to each other, which makes me really happy. Because I feel like that means that I'm doing something right. That I can provide that environment where you can engage with each other and where you can feel comfortable with each other. That's like a big goal for me, so that makes me really happy. As far as schedules, Sunday's Dreams, got that. Wednesday, Thursday next week are going to be Doom. Hopefully we'll make more progress than we did tonight. It's just the way that it works out sometimes with these levels, and that's not a problem. I don't mind the lack of progress, but hopefully we'll make a little bit more progress. Next Saturday, we'll do a chat stream. So if there are topics that you want to get to, if there are things that you want to say or you want to have on the plate, then please by all means bring them to the table. If there's something that you feel like I should do some background work on, because I can always do more research, send me a DM or a whisper and let me know. Like, say, hey, Risco, I want to talk about this thing. Do you have the information to talk about it? And I will do that legwork just so that I can engage with it the way that it needs to be engaged with. Otherwise, we were talking about manga last time. Maybe we'll bring that conversation back. I'm not 100% sure. But Buttons, thank you so much. Like, that means a lot. It really, really does. I want everybody to have a good time. I want it. I like things that to be educational to folks. I like us to learn new things, but I mean, I also want folks to have fun. So I'm really happy about that. I feel like this was the chat stream. You're not wrong, Kronos. You're not wrong. This was definitely a chat stream. This go about. Thank you so much, rabbits. Fuck. That's okay. I take a deep breath. I'm trying to be better at accepting compliments because I'm not good at it, which is not an excuse for all of you to throw compliments at me. I'm not fishing here. But thank you, Hive. Thank you, Rabbits, and thank you, Buttons. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna believe what you're saying. It's really fucking hard. Cause there's a part of my brain is just like, nope, that's not true. But I know that you're coming from a place of good faith, and I trust your abilities to make judgments. So I'm not going to be rude to you by saying that you're wrong. I can do it. I can take that compliment. Thank you. I just finished reading through this manga, and let me tell you, it's a very, very sad story, and I do think that some of the dialogue and plot choices aren't good, and the message, the hard end of a man abandoned by society and family, could be expressed better, but I don't regret buying it. I'm glad that you found something that works for you, Black Lamb, even if it's got issues. It's always nice to find a bit of media that clicks with us. I can do this. I can do this. I can trust you all enough to accept this. I'm gonna probably start crying, so because I've been doing that all day. So I'm gonna wrap things up. Everyone, thank you. Thank you so much. So for me, Risco here in Osaka, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, thank you. Arigato, arigato, samariota, sayonara, see you, and ciao.